Hi, this is David. No, I'm not dead yet. Much to the dismay of many Mormons. I just want to do a video here on so you want to be a god. I'm going to tell you what the job description is of a god with the Mormon Church. First of all, let me report to you that the famous $5 billion City Creek Mall caught on fire. Not 30 days old. Nordstrom's caught on fire, and I don't know how many millions of dollars were damaged. The roof was on fire, and all those sprinklers ruined a lot of things in there. So anyway, the Lord is watching over City Creek. And at the same time, they told City Creek there's going to be all kinds of problems down on Main Street trying to cross the street. Well, the prophet said, Jesus will take care of it. Well, hell, Jesus didn't show up. And they're getting people hit by the train, honking of horns, jaywalking. It's a cluster. Jesus. Oh, the Mormons, they just never quit. They just never quit. Okay, well, let me get on to my subject here. I'm going to try to adjust my head, and my camera's going to fall off, I'm sure. And I will be looking more stupid. Okay, am I there? Let me dim the light on my hair. Okay, here's the Mormon doctrine that if you're good, you're baptized, you go to the temple, and you live all of your commandments and covenants. You're going to go to the celestial kingdom, and you will be resurrected in the morning of the first resurrection. Now, if you're not a morning person, that may not be good for you. I don't know. You could ask for an afternoon erection or evening. The Mormons don't say much, so I don't have much information on what time of the day you can get resurrected. But here's what happens, okay? The Mormons believe that when you're married in the temple, your family stays with you. Now, if many of you don't have families like me, you may want to be with your family. I don't. I don't want to be with most of them. But if you're married in the temple, you're stuck with your family. So if you've got idiots, assholes, wise asses, if you've got morons, imbeciles, liars, cheaters, thieves, felons, you're with them. There's nothing you can do. All right, well, here's what the Mormons all strive for. See, they want to be gods. I think it was Lorenzo Snow, and I'm sure one of you will correct me if I'm wrong, that said, as God, as man is, God once was. And as God is, man may become. There comes their doctrine, philosophy, and policy that if you're a good Mormon, you can be a god. Okay, now I guess that is a very high goal and a very desirous goal for some people. Not for me, but many of you are going, I hope I get there, I hope I get there. Okay, well, here's the job description of a god in the Mormon Church. First of all, you're in the highest degree of the celestial kingdom, and you're going to repeat the Jesus thing, the atonement and the only begotten Son, and you're going to have your Jesus resurrect and save all of your worlds. Now, there's a little bit of discrepancy in that doctrine. Supposedly, the Jesus of the earth covered all atonement for all mankind. But it goes back and forth in the Mormon Church. You may have your own Jesus. I don't know if you put an ad in the paper and say, Son wanted extreme pain and finally crucifixion. All that wanted, give me a call. Jeez, I wouldn't call, but anyway, you might get your own Jesus. But even if you don't, you get to make your own worlds, and you get to have as many wives as you want. Now, this is better than Muslim, because Muslims, you get 71 virgins. Well, if I was a god, they wouldn't be a virgin more than a day. That's it. The virgins are gone. I remember we had a parade at BYU, and they wanted to get all the virgins on a float, but one was sick and the other was out of town. Just a joke. Anyway, you get to heaven, you're a god. Now, here's what's comical, okay? You can have as many wives as you want. I don't know how much time I'd have to build worlds. My life would be busy. Now, all of those women will be having babies. So you got a daycare center that's unbelievable. Billions and billions. Diapers, and putting stuff in the light socket, jumping off the patio to break their legs. You got a horde of children, okay? Now these children are going to grow up as a spirit. I don't know if they eat spiritual food. I don't know if they get MMR shots there and I don't know these things. They're going to grow up. Now when they grow up, if you're their father and the God, you're going to have millions of teenagers. I got one right now, and I got a tweenie. She's almost 10. That's enough for me. I don't want millions of teenagers. I couldn't handle millions and millions of teenagers. I sent one to the show today, a movie downtown, so I could do the video. So she's happy. Now, as a God, you're going to have all of these wives and millions of children. Well, now you've got to build some earths for these children to go to be tested. You're going to torture them with no food, with famine, with disease, tsunamis, murder, rape, cannibalism. It goes on and on because a God can think up many ways to test his children. Frankly, just give me an F. I don't want any more tests. Just give me an F. I'm okay. But all those that are trying to get up there to be gods themselves, oh, this is just a test. Oh, my baby died and 3 others died and I'm dying, but it's a test. I'm going to see. Well, anyway, if you want to believe that philosophy and it floats your boat, hey, you belong in a torture chamber. You're being tested. So anyway, now here's the difficulties for me with this theory and with this philosophy and doctrine of the Mormon Church. If any of you have had children, and I'm sure many of you have, how would you like to have millions and billions of them? I don't know, but I know that there was surveys taken, oh gosh, it's been 30, 40 years ago, where parents were interviewed and said, if you had a choice to have children again, would you? More than 50% said, hell no, I'm not interested. So there you go. You don't even have to fight to be a God because you don't want to be a God in the Mormon Church anyway. Now here's why I think these people are attracted and drawn into this cult. If you've never been in a position of authority, if you've never been a supervisor or a director or a founder, owner of a company, if you've never been responsible for the lives of other human beings, then you're going to want power. Now, those of us who have been in situations where we have made life and death decisions on human beings, we're not interested. We are not interested. When you've been through the damn fire of having to look at a human being, look at their life, look at the circumstances, and then sit back and try to evaluate a just and a fair decision, it's agony. One person, not billions, just one person is agony. When you can say yes or no, when you can say in or out, when you have the absolute power to destroy a human being's life with punitive kinds of punitive decisions, or if you can bring them to be a king or to be supposedly a god. Now, let me give you an example, and I'm sure this is not going to be very much new to a person that has had children. I have a little 9-year-old, Allison, and she's adopted, and she's from the Philippines. She's born in the Philippines. And Allison, the day I saw her the first time, she was ADHD. I knew that in the Philippines when I adopted her. I knew that, and I accepted that part of that child, and she's been that way, of course, ever since. And I've got her on medications, and she's matriculating fairly well. Now, having a background in special ed, I realize that these kinds of children, they don't see the world through the same eyes that you and I see it. Their brain is not as organized in the same way our brain is organized, and they get distracted with everything. A spider, a fly, a ceiling fan, anything in the room distracts them. Now, let me give you this example, okay? She has a hard time keeping her room clean. Now, that's not totally abnormal for many children, but for this kind of a child, when she looks at the room, it looks normal. She cannot see that it looks like a hoarder's village in there. Well, if you yell and scream at her, she just starts crying, and then pretty soon she becomes very rebellious, jumps around like a, firefly, and it screams, "You're not my real dad." She's not the only one that screamed that. I have 12 others that scream the same thing. And I had one wife, I said, "Why is Jenny so happy?" And my wife looked at me and she says, "I haven't told her who her father is yet." Bitch. Anyway, this little one, her world is so small. It's school and it's home, and she loves Netflix, and we do a lot of behavior modification with her. And here's my difficulty with being a God. She is a precious little human being. She has her own wishes, her own desires, her own goals, her own likes, her own dislikes. And of course, in the position that I'm in, as the father, I'm God. Whatever I say just goes. And there's times that she's come home from school and she hadn't turned her homework in. She did her homework, but she forgot to turn it in. There's a day that she knows she's not allowed in boys' houses. This is the girl that I have to keep a little bit of an eye on. And one day I found her in her little boyfriend's house. Well, she came home, and her mother, being a matriarchal Philippine mother, if you think that nothing is going to happen till pigs fly, in our family, pigs fly. The mother just laid into the kid. And, they have a really strong morality in the Philippines, especially with girls. And when the mom found out that the 9-year-old was in the other 9-year-old boy's house, she just flew like a pig. Well, I had to sit back. I was the dad, and I had to decide, what is the fair punishment. Now, here's your Mormon God shit, okay? I agonized and agonized for 2 or 3 days trying to make one decision on one child to make sure it was right, it was good for her, and that it was fair. Now, you want billions and billions of children all over the place with tsunamis wiping them out, and disease and Black Death and volcanoes? Be my guest. I have just one 9-year-old. And I was agonizing. I thought, well, if I keep her inside and she's grounded, now her socialization, which is important to an ADHD child, to have friends and to be able to play outside, that could be more damaging. If I put her, in prison in her room, she's going to climb out the window. She's going to cut the screen. She's going to draw on the wall. These kids can do a lot of damage in a short period of time. If I spanked her, that's going to last for, a minute and a half, and then that punishment will be gone, and so will the memory of that punishment. Am I thinking of not letting her play with the little boy? Well, yes, but now that's her best friend. They walk together from school. They walk all over the place together. They play ball, they play basketball. That's her best friend. I have the right and the power to say, hey, no more, friend, no more. You were wrong. This is a test to see if you will obey, and pay. Well, she had to pay because her mother stole all of her money because she broke a pair of glasses that I had. Anyway, I think about it and think about it. What is the best way? A little of all of those punishments? Maybe no punishment. Was part of it my fault because I know her meds wear off at about 3 or 4 o'clock? And I didn't remedicate her that day because I thought, maybe she's going to make it through the day. How much is my responsibility? How much is hers? How much does she know? What is her... I've had her IQ tested. She does have normal intelligence. But with ADHD, we don't really know how scattered a human being can get. And you can also have all kinds of bearing in on your decision. Nutrition bears in. The child did have typhoid fever 5 years ago, almost died. She's been a little stick almost ever since. She's picking up weight now. So was there brain damage there? Maybe. Maybe. How is she going to feel about me when I make the decision? How is she going to feel about herself? What about her self-esteem? What about her rebellion? Is she going to be extra rebellious against us because we've disciplined her? Maybe we should discipline her more. Sometimes that helps. So I'm agonizing and agonizing over this one particular decision with this one particular just 9-year-old little girl. So if you think I want to be a god in the Mormon church and go up there and just screw all day long, and half my wives are going to be in the maternity ward, and I'm sure I'm going to get a bill on that. At least I won't have a paternity suit. I don't need any more of those. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, okay? So I'm saying that as a parent, we agonize and agonize over one child, 1 day, 1 hour. How would you like to have an eternity of worry? Now, the Mormons are going to say, well, he doesn't know what he's talking about. God's ways are not our ways. Well, I'm going to believe that because there's no way I could or want to be a God. And, I could be happy as a Muslim. 71, that's good enough for me. Even one these days is more than I can handle. So anyway, if you want to be a Mormon God, for heaven's sakes, join the Mormon church, get baptized, run up there to the temple, pay, lay, ale, bow your head and say yes, and health in the navel, marrow in the bones, strength in the loins and in the sinews. Go through the whole damn thing, and when you die, Jesus will open his arms up and say, welcome to my daycare center. And I'm not interested. So if you believe that doctrine, hey, and it floats your boat, I'm happy for you. But for anybody else that's listening to me, give it some thought. Is that the way you want to spend eternity? I don't. Thanks.